we clearly stated that this series is continuous. It builds on top of the other. We are in video 4. I have created a project named video 4, and of course went on and changed my ID ranges from the normal 50,000 to 80,000 and to 80,110. Deleted the hello world, downloaded symbols, and as well, even if you're using the same project, you can always download symbols again, so it's not like it will affect your project. As long as it's already logged on, you can re-download the symbols, and by re-downloading the symbols, it's a surety that you're still connected to your server. And ideally, if you're able to download the symbols, it means you're still able to publish to that particular server. Download from either on-prem or cloud. I only have one launch.json configuration, so it doesn't prompt me to choose the launch server that I'm targeting for the symbol download.
Hii ni Tech na Msangi ya jishinde.com.
Let's move on. We installed this AL using AI with AL programming. Remember, you can be able to configure the system to actually use an MCP server. In the initial video, in the previous video, we said like the AL language, just ensure that the AL language extension for Microsoft Dynamics is installed. This is the only thing that we said. And again, GitHub Copilot Chat, because we just need to use it. Preparing our tools, simple GitHub Copilot Chat. And again, now, what else do you need? In the era of AI and AL programming, we can bring Microsoft Learn MCP server into Visual Studio Code. Imagine having Microsoft Learn within you, like just bringing it next to you, and by simply typing at MCP and then going ahead, when you type at MCP, all the MCP servers from your extension management page will be listed that are available in Visual Studio Code that you can use. And what you need to use is the Microsoft Learn MCP server, and it enables clients use GitHub Copilot and other AI agents to bring trusted and up-to-date information directly from Microsoft official documentation. Think of how powerful it is that you have the official documentation. Can you imagine all that documentation on AL programming, all that information that you have? And it's a remote MCP server that enables clients like GitHub Copilot, other AI agents to bring trusted and up-to-date information directly from Microsoft documentation. And of course, you can see the overview here should automatically use the tools for Microsoft related topic. For example, give me Azure CLI commands. And of course, it's not saying AL programming, but we still know that it is part of Microsoft Learn. And of course, when you do MCP Learn, then at MCP Learn, you get Microsoft Learn. But of course, and if you add Learn, then it's easier for you to get Microsoft Learn. Can't see it. Okay, the search is not working, but you just use at MCP, scroll down and get Microsoft Learn. So this is extensions that the MCP server that once you install, and ideally you should be able now to have access to Microsoft Learn in your Visual Studio Code for our next purpose. Then sign in to GitHub. The GitHub account, or once you have downloaded, when you I believe you have a GitHub account. If you don't, create a GitHub account and then be able to sign in into your GitHub account from your Visual Studio Code. And once you do that, then you can go to GitHub Copilot Chat. The chat window will be listed on the left, and if it's not displayed, you can see the chat icon here that it's top right. I hope I'm not blocking it from this video that I'm showing. Let me just scroll it further. My video shouldn't be blocking here. The chat icon should be seen from here. And of course, you also have this icon here at the bottom showing that this is the GitHub Copilot Chat icon. And of course, there is usually inline suggestions that GitHub Copilot gives you with we call it GitHub Copilot inline suggestions or inline editor, where you can type in a comment and of course it auto completes based on what has been written in the past. It's been there for a long time, but now we are going into the chat mode. And in the chat, you do have several modes: agent, ask, edit, and plan. Primarily use of course, you can use it interchangeably. Edit is not enabled by default if you are using the latest version of Visual Studio Code, so you won't see it, but you can enable it from the settings. You can say like edit is hidden, false, like the settings.json. If I do Control Shift P, I think you should now by now be knowing that Control Shift P is your go-to. Chats.edit mode.hidden is false. So this one now, if I say true, the edit mode should be it won't be displayed once I do the developer reload window. Like if you do reload window is like refreshing the Visual Studio Code. So I think the edit mode should be hidden now because I've said that I don't need the edit mode. Don't tell me it's losing the chat mode as well, or the ask mode. So we do have now, you can disable or enable. So you see the edit mode is now not displayed. What we need today, leave alone the edit, let's focus on the ask. We want to learn about, yes, we have downloaded symbols. How can we be using GitHub Copilot as our AI pair programmer? And so this is one of the questions, like around, looking at it 3 hours ago, I was just interacting with it. But let's pick some of the sessions that I launched. And this is something, I don't want to bore you with prompting live, because sometimes prompting is prompting, and you might use the same prompt and get a different result from what I've gotten. So at Workspace will definitely give you access to the Workspace. I'm like, at Workspace, but trust me in this, because I'm trying to do at Workspace. It's not like auto picking the IntelliSense, but if you do at Workspace, or if you do / you can get to fix, explain, or search, and you can use at GitHub, at terminal. Maybe you want the terminal, look at the terminal, but ideally there are these terms that GitHub Copilot can use. But trust me on this, use at Workspace, because we want to learn about our Workspace. And what my prompt was, I have just downloaded the symbols and I would like to learn more about them. Help me understand the .al packages folders, because this is a folder that I've seen. And if you right click and you do go to file, open in File Explorer, reveal in File Explorer, you can see the folder as it is, and you can see it went into the AL folder, and it says it's a read-only cache used by the AL language. And when you run AL download symbols, which you just did, so the extension connects to the Business Central server and downloads compiled.app packages that contain the symbol definitions, object names, fields, methods, properties, events, and so on. So without source code, unless explicitly included, these symbols are what enable IntelliSense code navigation, like go to definition and everything. So if you don't have this and you do go to definition, then it won't work, the IntelliSense. And you can see your project targets, so your downloaded packages here, and my project targets version 27.0000, Business Central 2025 wave 2, not wave 1. Hey, you're wrong here. And it contains this file. There is the Microsoft application, which is here, 27.4. Okay, there's mini versions, and it's a low-level platform with low-level data types: text, integer, blob, built-in functions like message, error, and everything. Another extension that I'd like you to download, because I have my code, my Visual Studio Code is not net new, but just add a ZAL DevTools extension, because we do have the AL extension pack. We might add it later, but not now, if needed. This one is what will give you everything by Waldo. It will give you everything that AL, as far as AL is needed, but just need a ZAL DevTools for easy navigation. ZAL DevTools, it's a very good tool for all this. It gives you the symbols browser, and many other things. You can read this documentation if you want to go deeper into what it gives you, but it's a really great tool. AL Object Explorer can do the same, but AZL DevTools is highly recommended for the same task, because now if I go now to the Microsoft application, how I'm navigating here by clicking on that, the AZL DevTools takes over, and of course I can see there low-level platform types like text, integer, blob, message. If you're using message function, error function, low-level platform, they're the platform types that the AL project will depend on. You'll definitely need to use message and error at some point for your AL project. And the Microsoft System application, it's a core application framework, user management, permissions, secrets, media, retention policies, telemetry, hooks, and everything. So the system application as well, it gives us now management of the users, permissions. It's like the core. These are in the Microsoft System application, you find that most of the tables will have a characteristic. Like if I open the user, they'll have a characteristic known as, if I do user and then star, if I do permission, no, there's no permission set, buffer, or whichever. They mostly most of them, they usually have the data per company to be false. Like their data is they have like one data set for all the companies in the organization. For example, user management will cut across the whole application. User, okay, interesting. User login, let me try this. Inherent permissions, let me see. Core application, and then the Microsoft Business Foundation, Microsoft application. Okay, not sure why I can't say user, but ideally if you are using Business Central, no, here it is. Here is the permission set object. Let's see, but I don't think permission set will have something like data per company, and unless they have been renamed in this version. User details. This is a temporary table because it's a system metadata. Ideally, you have like one data set per company. For example, you don't need to have users for this. The same user can access multiple companies. The same permission set can be in multiple companies. So if you create a user in one company, it will be reflected across the whole database. So it is a database level record, and you can still define your own records if you are working with multiple companies and you want to use a table that is controlling all the companies that you have. You can use that feature and not create every not having unique data per company, but have one distinct data for that particular company. Then there's the business foundation, which is the foundational cutting objects like number series and everything, and what we need to focus on, because the utilities and core application user management is in the system application, and the system, which now is the glue between the three. Then we need to look at the base application. This is where the core, most of it, will be extending the base application oftentimes, and all the standard tables, customer, vendor, item, GL entry, they'll be found in the base application. And when you look at that, GL entry, pages, reports, and everything, what will be extending mostly will be in the base application. And you can see that when you look at the app.json, there are two entries which pulls the Microsoft system and the application stack, and the dependencies being blank, meaning I only depend on the Microsoft standard layers. So you don't need to have a dependency for you to download all these applications. But if I need to add another application, maybe from an ISV, then I add something on the dependency, and then I'll have it downloading. So do not edit these files. They are auto-generated artifacts, and they are also typically used like, and of course in .gitignore you always have the L packages to exclude them, because they not needed to be maintained or to be they're not needed in your source control. Redownload when needed. If you have an issue, you can always redownload. Maybe you switch the versions and you change the application, always re-download. And the app file does not contain its metadata. It's not like source code, so you can navigate to objects and see what the source code will contain, but it's not like source code. And the dependency resolution order at compile time is bottom up. It starts with the system application, business foundation, base application, then your extension. So this layered architecture means your extension can extend or subscribe to events in any of those layers. So your extension is at right here at the bottom. You can extend, and what you are building, remember now it's at the top, not at the bottom. There is the system application, business application, base application, then the application, and then your extension is on the top of all these applications, and it's able to now extend the application and create something new. So that's it for this video. We will now try to use a prompt like this. Not sure if it will work for you, but use a prompt in ask mode. Don't use in agent mode, please. Use the prompt in ask mode. This is what you need to do. Use it in ask mode because we need to understand. At this stage, don't use agent mode to edit your Business Central. Of course, if you have, it's not the first time, just use ask mode. Experiment with ask mode. Ask mode is really good for insights. Trying, instead of going to ChatGPT or Gemini, use ask mode here, and you can switch your agent that you want to use. You can either use auto, and remember I'm using the premium version of GitHub Copilot Chat, and because I have many models, but auto will work well for you with the free version, which will still give you a lot in terms of the insights. You can still get a lot of information even before you get the subscription, but highly recommend that you get the subscription for your AI programmer, pair programmer, but you can still use the free version. Thank you. I will see you in the next video. We will now use the chat versus build at the same time, but we'll leverage the AZAL dev tools like this new file AL wizard to create a table, and also snippets to just see and extend a few modules here and there. I'll see you in the next video.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss the next one.